Yes, the title is a little bit clickbait, but don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you hanging for too long. I'm gonna tell you soon what I'm talking about. And I think I'm pretty serious about this. If this thing actually changes in a meaningful way, I will probably just dump Aduro shares the next day. So, what is this thing I'm talking about? Well, this thing is management. And I think it's pretty clear for anyone who has been involved in Aduro for a little bit that besides the chemistry, which is obviously the most important part, management is also very, very critical in this company. So, who are the faces behind Aduro is what we are going to cover first. And a second, we're going to look at Aduro's management and communication style so far. And I think both of those are pretty interesting. And yeah, we're going to just start with number one. So this is the, let's say, all the important management that Aduro has. And I think the first four here obviously are the most important people in the company, as well as Anil is also pretty critical. So Offer is obviously the CEO, which makes all the most important decisions, and he is also by far the largest shareholder of the company. He has about a third of all the shares. So really, really important what he does with his shares. And I think he is really the critical person in this company because like if he quits, I will probably just dump my shares because I mean, yes, you could say the chemistry is still there, it still works, the other people are still there, but you know, if he quits, first of all, I would question what the fuck is going on with the company. Something like massively wrong. Is like something critical happening. Obviously, if he has like I don't know, if his departure is not related to the company, maybe that's different. But yeah, or if he starts selling down his shares aggressively, at some point he will have to sell his shares probably. But yeah, he's really important person to pay attention to. Mark is obviously the principal scientist and co-founder, and for example, all the patents he was like very involved with. So, I think also most of the patents are registered to his name. So, pretty important person. But he's also a pretty major shareholder, but not as much as Offer. He is like the main guy here. Mina, CFO, also has a good shareholdings. So far, again, Aduro is pretty much a pre-revenue company. They have some nominal revenues, but Aduro is pretty much still a pre-revenue company. And so you might think there's not much to do with him, but he has been very disciplined so far. The company has no debt, which is great to see. These early companies sometimes really get into trouble when they get debt, and then things take longer than expected, and then you don't have cash flows, and then it gets problematic. So that has been pretty good so far, and also his management. I mean, I would expect that this is his responsibility of dilution, and the company uplisting to the Nasdaq is probably also he was majorly involved with, and I'm very happy with how things turn out so far. Eric Appelman, Chief Revenue Officer, joined the company about 2 years ago from a chemical campus where they pretty much saw tens or I think even hundreds of different chemical technologies that came to the campus to get like evaluated and get some help. And Aduro was one of those companies, and Eric liked Aduro so much that he left a stable job. I think he was like 6 years in that campus. I mean, he could have retired, he could have just stayed at this cushy, stable job, but he decided to join Aduro. So that's amazing to see. And he's also often involved in like a little bit more investor communications, like in interviews or, on conferences, etc. So he is like pretty public facing, let's say. And the last person I want to highlight here a little bit is Anil, obviously the chief scientist. He is like boots on the ground when it comes to all the reactor setup, managing all the, let's say, lower level scientists and making sure everything works. And he's like the person to make sure that the reactors actually work and do what they say. And, so far it's been working out pretty great, I think. So no complaints here. But again, if those people start leaving or something, something like that, if there's conflict between these parties or something like that, like I would get pretty worried. But so far no problem. So I think that's great. And yeah, this is just a quick overview here over their tenure, their share counts. Again, Offer, again, as a CEO, has like 31% ownership. This like approximate number might be a little bit different, but yeah, as you see here, Appelman joined 2 years ago. Mena also about 3 years ago, but these two guys have been there from the start in 2011, so that's great to see. All right, let's go to the second point. And yeah, so as an example, I took the 2024 strategic outlook, and we're gonna see how the company actually delivered on those promises and how it developed. So let's start with the first point. The first major pillar that they promised at the beginning of 2024 was to convert existing customer engagement participants from evaluation to collaborators. And let's see how that worked out. And about middle 2024, Total Energies entered into a collaboration phase. So they said they're gonna do it, and they actually did it. So that's great. We're gonna skip over number 2 for now, because as you can see, we don't have a ton per day scale R2 plastics reactor right now. So you might question it, what happened there actually. We're gonna dive into it a little bit deeper later on. We're gonna skip to point 3 for now. And their goal here was to expand the company's IP, add 2 to 4 more patents to 2024. And let's see how this worked out. So the first patent came in September 2024. New patent filing. I'm not really even sure what it was about, but they filed a patent, so yeah. And the second patent came in end of January 2025. So you might say, oh, they actually missed this point. They didn't release 2 patents in 2024, but only 1. But you're gonna see it in the company a lot. They often have like a little bit of delay, like maybe a month or 2. But does it really make a difference if it release, like if they publish this patent on December 30th or January 30th, like this 1 month? I don't think it's a big deal. But yeah, you're gonna see this as a pattern that the company, like, let's say they said they're gonna add more patents, they added more patents. Maybe it's not exactly 2 in this year, maybe they had like a month delay, but what I'm trying to say, like, how do you describe it? I guess they do what they say, but not in this precisely exact way. Sometimes takes a little bit longer. Sometimes they say they're gonna do like, something larger, and then they only do like something smaller. But yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. Now we come to the second point, where they promised that in 2024 they're gonna continue work to design and start building the ton per day scale R2 plastics, which obviously didn't happen. And I'm gonna explain that through what their management and communication style has been so far. So in 2025 so far, they've been averaging 3 to 4 press releases a month. So, it's been pretty good from that perspective. And like we saw, like delays do happen, but more of an abundance of caution and very conservative approach. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to say, that, they get the goals done, but if something comes in the way of, this might endanger their commercialization progress, they're not afraid to delay it a little bit or change around, even if, by that they technically broke what they promised, but in reality they do what's best for the shareholders, right? And this is because Aduro's management treats every major step and milestone as potentially fatal. So that's why, if there's even a slight chance that not delaying a certain step will really endanger the commercialization, they will just delay whatever. They do what's best here. And this is a quote form offer from the CEO. So every year we start building several milestones we need to report on. Those milestones have to be simple, reasonable, need to add value to the company, and investors need to understand them. For example, if I say that this year I'm going to bring 1 patent, 1 deal, and 1 design, then, by the end of the year, I'm a different company than what I started, right? He said here, for example, like 1 patent, but they promised 2 to 4, and they, technically delivered just 1, but, this 1 month, I don't think it matters. So, yeah. And also, I found his quote here very interesting. Every year, we either deliver or die trying. So, like I said, this potentially fatal is really what they are about. They really take it really, really serious. Like, for example, like for offer, like, he has 1/3 of all the shares, right? This is like massive, massive money. If something goes wrong, like his net worth just evaporates. So just from a personal interest perspective, he's just very, very careful. And, in this R3 2024 example, they could have rushed out a large R3 or demo plant, which would have been pretty much a demo plant by the end of 2024, but they decided to collect more data first with their R2 and then create a small pilot plant first before they build the actual demo plant, but with the same equipment to collect even more data and feedback from partners. Again, this goes back to, the 3D milestones as pretty much fatal. So they might have just built a large demo plant right away, and let's say it's like 90% chance that it works perfectly. But these 10%, they decided it's not worth the risk, and let's just, instead of building like the large plant first, let's build a small plant, see if it works, and to make sure that this is actually, going to be productive, let's build it with the same equipment as the larger plant, but just scaled down, and we're going to use pretty much the same equipment. So it's as if they built a demo plant, but just in a way smaller scale, which obviously means, less CapEx costs, and it's quicker. You can, right away run tests. And yeah, so the demo plant was now delayed to about 2027. So, as you might imagine, there's almost like a 2.5 year or 3 year delay, depending on how you look at it. And, you might say, oh, that's terrible, they're delaying so much. But again, their main goal is that commercialization actually succeeds. That's their main goal. And that's probably the most important point in this whole video or explanation. The management's main goal is that the commercialization actually succeeds and happens, and that there are no mishaps and no catastrophes happening. Even if it's a really low risk, they will still be extremely, extremely conservative and just take their time. If they need to take their time to de-risk it, they will do it. So, but on one hand, it's like really annoying for an investor because they do it so slowly. You might think about it, might think, oh, just build the commercial plant right away. The chemistry works. Why don't you do it right away? But if you understand that for management, it's again, scale up or die trying pretty much. That they want to be really, really careful. And I personally appreciate that, but it can be a little bit frustrating because you have to wait and wait. We know the chemistry works. Like, why are you making us wait so long? But they view it as they have one shot to make it work, to make a good first impression to investors, to their partners, to everyone involved. And obviously this motivates everyone if everything works from the first time. So it's just how it is. And yeah, I am not giving judgment to that, but you might like it, you might dislike it, but that's just how the company works, right? So that's pretty much it. The best way to support me and help me make more videos is to subscribe. Takes you 2 seconds, it's completely free, and I would really appreciate it, and you will see more videos in a more regular way. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.